Hey IUP, my name is Olivia Hughes and we are back for another episode of the Penn Sports Network Podcast. This week we are taking a slightly different approach. Joining me as co-host is Jacob Smith, the cross-country beat writer for the Penn and a former collegiate cross-country runner himself. Welcome, Jacob.
Hey guys.
We are joined by Mike Formica, who has authored one of the greatest individual seasons in the history of IUP cross-country program. Just yesterday, Formica finished fourth in the men's race at the NCAA Atlantic Region Championship and qualified for the national meet in 2 weeks. Congratulations, Mike, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. How did you get into cross-country?
Yeah, so it started, I ran track in 9th grade, and then from there I kind of realized that cross-country would be a way to help me get in better shape for track. So it really started off as this is something that will help me for track. So I started running cross-country for the first time in 10th grade, and then I just kind of fell in love with it from there.
When did you consider that you could run in at the collegiate level?
So it really honestly was up until my senior year, it wasn't really something I gave a lot of thought to. My senior year I had a pretty big breakthrough, and it was definitely something where with the improvements I was seeing from my junior to senior year that I was thinking, okay, this is definitely something I want to do in college because I wanted to see how good I could get, and running in college is the best way to find out what your real ceiling is in the sport. So it was really, I'd say, I hadn't given a lot of thought, but my senior year was definitely something I kind of had my heart set on.
Were there any other sports that you were given any interest to, or just cross country?
When I was growing up, I played a lot of different sports, but when I started running track in 9th grade, it was the most I'd ever enjoyed any sport, and it immediately became a year-round thing. I mean, I played football my freshman year and ran track in the spring, but after that track season, I joined cross country the following fall. So really, as soon as I got into running, kind of everything else took a back seat, even other working out. I used to lift more, but really as soon as I got into running, it kind of took precedence over everything else.
How was your recruiting process like?
In high school?
Mm-hmm.
In high school, so my senior year, like I said, I had a pretty big breakthrough. I didn't really have a lot of recruiting. I won the Whitfield cross country meet in high school, which was our district meet, District 7. But after that, my recruiting kind of went 0 to 100 from there. So it went from I had some small interest from D3, D2 schools. But after that, really, it took off, and then I committed to Youngstown State, and I was there for the first 2 years of college before I transferred here. But I'd really say that it started off small, but then it all kind of took off at once with my recruiting in high school.
How was your time at Youngstown State? How'd you like the Division I running atmosphere?
I liked it. Honestly, I didn't really perform up to where I knew I could be performing for a lot of different reasons there. But overall, I think I learned a lot. I mean, I got to be around some really high-level runners. I got to watch how they train, how they kind of approach training and racing, and I think that's some of those things I've still, I've learned from and I take with me today. So I really wouldn't trade it, even though it didn't go how I wanted it to go. I really wouldn't trade it for anything. I think that I learned so much from my time there, even though I didn't perform how I wanted to there. I think I was able to be around a really high-level team and some really high-level guys, and I think that what I learned there has helped me a lot, because that's one of those things where you really can only learn from by being around. So I would say, it didn't go how I wanted to in terms of my own performance, but my time there has helped my performance now, in a way.
What played into the decision to come to IUP?
Yeah, so at YSU, when I was transferring, it really wasn't, I wasn't performing how I wanted to running-wise, but it was more of a general life decision that I wasn't really happy there. And when I visited IUP, I was trying to base the decision around, more than running. So when I visited IUP, I really liked the town, I really liked the campus, and the team seemed like a really close group of guys. So obviously I wanted to run really well, but the main thing that I was deciding on was I want to pick a school where if I never run another race again, if I get hurt, or if it just isn't going the way I want it to go, that I can still be happy outside of running, because that was something that I didn't really have a great balance of before at YSU. I felt like my running results were running was the main reason why I chose to go there, and that was a mistake. But when I picked IUP, I was like, okay, this is a school where I think I'm going to be able to run well here, but that I know I'm going to be happy in life outside of running if running isn't going well, if it's not working out. So that was the main reason why I chose IUP, was the campus, the town, and then the team being a really close group of guys that I knew I was going to be friends with. Even if we weren't on the team together, I knew I'd be friends with them outside of the team, so that was really important to me.
So starting your journey at IUP, what is a typical training week look look like for you?
Yeah, so I'd say it depends on the time of year. In the summer, I run some heavier mileage, and in season, I do some harder workouts. I would say, in general, my weekly mileage is around 60 to 70 miles per week. In the summer, that'll get a little higher. I'll do between like 70 and 90. In the summer, it's mostly just easy running volume. In season, I'll do 1 or 2 hard workouts a week, and then race probably every other week. But I would say, if I was trying to give a standard number for how much volume I do, it would probably be between that like 60 and 70 miles per week number. Has been a nice sweet spot for me. I've done less and I've done more, and I feel like that's where I'm getting the best results from.
So a specific workout that you like to do? Are you more an interval guy, or is it like a tempo type of day? Or
I would say this year one of the big things I've done that's helped me take a big step forward is I've done a lot more threshold work. But I would say my favorite type of workout would definitely be intervals, and I think that I gain a lot of fitness from them. That's a workout where I thrive in, especially as more of like a speed-based guy. So I always have fun with those. But this year I've definitely incorporated a lot more threshold. It's not really something we've done a lot of in the past. So I think that's probably, if I had to say like one thing that I've changed from years past to this year that's helped me, I'd say that it would be incorporating that a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, when you say threshold, I feel like that's kind of like a newer term and just overall running in general. Yeah. How do you kind of like incorporate that? So is that like a specific day that you like pick out, we're going to try to hit this threshold, or is it like just over the whole week?
Yeah, so usually I'll try to do like one threshold workout a week. So an example of that, I did one that sticks out to me. I did 7 by mile at threshold. So basically trying to define it in layman's terms would be, so it's running intervals, but you're running them comfortably hard. You're keeping them under your lactate threshold, so you're not building up lactic acid, which is what slows your muscles down, but you're running just under that. So you're not generating any lactic acid. So you can do a lot more volume at threshold, and you feel fine. You don't feel fine, but you feel pretty good compared to like how you but if you're running a hard interval workout, you'd be like tired the next day. But you can do a lot more volume with this, and you can feel a lot more recovered the next day. So it's been something that's been a lot more popular in training. So I've been trying to do about one of those a week. So like I was saying, one of those, an example would be I did 7 by mile, which for me my threshold would be probably between like 510 and 520. But I try to watch my heart rate. I feel like that's a good way to keep a gauge on if I'm actually staying in that zone or not. So I've been trying to incorporate that once a week or once every other week, just depending on where I can fit it into my training block. But I think it's definitely something that's helped me a lot this year.
How does your race strategy change when you're preparing for like a 6K compared to an 8 or 10K?
Honestly, I would say it doesn't really change that much. All my races this year, I like to be responding to other runners. I'm not really I'm not trying to make the moves. I'm not trying to decide how the race plays out. I know that I have a really strong close at the end of the race, so I really let other people dictate the pace of the race. I mean, for cross country especially, it's not, for me, it's not as much about the times. The times, that's something I'll go after in track. But cross country, every course is different, so the times are kind of they're like a secondary thought. For me, it's about like winning races, or at the very least placing as high as I can. So I've run the same race, I've run the same strategy every single race this year. Between 6K at the start of the season up until 10K yesterday. And I've been trying to respond to other runners, so I'll just kind of sit on the guys who are in the lead, and then when I get to the last mile or so, I'll start trying to close it down from there. But I would say I really haven't changed much of the strategy, and for me that's nice going into every race, because there's a lot of teams out there and there's a lot of guys who have these like really complicated race plans and strategies, and they're like meeting with their coach for 20 minutes before the race and all that stuff. I'm like, I don't have to worry about any of that. Like, I'm gonna go out there and I'll respond to their whole strategy that they have laid out and everything that they've thought about before. I don't have to do any of the work mentally or physically. I can respond to their moves, and so far most races I've been able to make the last move, and I feel like that's usually the one that counts.
Yeah. Is it challenging, like, switching from different courses, like, throughout the year? Like, I don't really know how you would prepare for that personally.
I mean, I would honestly say not particularly. Every course is different, and it's something that I do have to think about, particularly the PSAC course. It had a really challenging hill that you go up 3 times, so it's something that I need to be aware of. I'll think about, okay, I have this hill coming up, so I need to make sure that I have some life in me going into that hill. But it's also something that I try not to get too in my head about, because at the end of the day, I'm still going out there and I'm still racing. So there's not really a whole lot that I can do about it, or I can't change how prepared I am for the race, if there's hills or not hills. So I definitely am aware of where they are in the course, and I need to make sure that I'm feeling good at certain points to be ready for it. But other than that, like prep-wise, at this point in the season, there's not really a whole lot that I can change training-wise. My fitness is more or less, it's kind of what it is at this point.
What did it mean to you to start off the season on a challenging course like Edinburgh and being able to beat the course record there?
Yeah, so going into Edinburgh, that was a smaller meet. My goal there was just to get out there and feel what it's like to race and get a win on the conference course, because obviously knowing that I'm going to have a much harder challenge later in the year at PSACs. The competition at the first Edinburgh meet was a lot weaker, but I definitely treated it as kind of a trial run for PSACs. Even the way I ran the race, I started off pretty far back and then worked my way up throughout the race and closed hard. And I knew that PSACs was going to be, I was going to have to do the same thing, just with harder competition and with that much faster pace. But I was definitely trying to treat it as a test run, especially knowing that this is the same course I'm going to be back on a couple months later for a much more important race. I think I was definitely glad that I got out there earlier in the season to get on the course, kind of feel what that hill feels like. You know, I can see it, but it's one thing to see it, it's another thing to run it. So I'm glad that I got out there and I got on the course. I got to feel what it all felt like before I went out there for the real thing at PSACs.
Is there anything in that race that you saw that like you kind of put to memory to like remember, okay, like this is coming up in the conference in the PSAC?
Definitely how long the downhill was. At the last downhill was probably about 1,000 meters long, and I went to watch Edinburgh last year. I watched the meet, but I didn't really realize how long the downhill was. It's very gradual, but you can definitely like get rolling on it, and I felt really fast over the last half mile or so the first time there, and so I knew at PSACs like, okay, I can really like get moving here.
I think it was Charleston was there, and then I think Shippensburg was there as well. Was there anything like competition-wise that you were looking at that race?
At the earlier one?
Yeah, the Edinburgh one. Or earlier in the year, the 6K.
I don't think either one of them were there at that one.
No, they were not.
No.
Okay.
No, it's just like it's like Seton Hill.
Seton Hill?
Yeah, it was like about it, but.
So not only did you break your own PR at the Lock Haven Invitational, but you also broke the school record for the 8K time. What were you feeling during the race, and what does this accomplishment mean to you?
Yeah, so again, during the race, honestly, I wasn't even really thinking about the time. I knew Lock Haven was a fast course. I knew I was in shape to break the school record, but I was really just thinking about, it was a pretty close race. It was me and two other guys for the majority of the race, and I was really just thinking about beating them. I wasn't even really thinking about the time, but I came around that last stretch, and I see the clock, and it's at like high 23s, and I'm like doing the math in my head, like, okay, I'm going to run between like 24 flat and 24:20. So I didn't even really realize I was going to break it. Like, I knew I had the fitness to do it, but I had no idea what time I was running. I don't race with my watch or anything, so I was just kind of out there blind. But I was coming around, I was like, okay, like I'm like about to run the school record, so that's when it kind of like set in. But that was definitely a nice one to check off. I have a few of them, but cross country is probably like my weakest sport compared to the track, so I knew that this was going to be probably the hardest one for me to get. So it was definitely like, when I got it, I was like proud of myself that I was able to do that, especially in what I don't really consider to be my primary sport, my best event.
I mean, you broke, like, I feel like so many records this season, so it's kind of crazy that you're saying that this isn't your number one sport.
Yeah.
What is going through your mind when you're running? Because, like, I can imagine just running, like, with no music, no nothing. What's your mindset to that?
Everyone always asks me that question, like, what do you think about when you're, like, running or racing? So when I'm racing, I'm thinking about the race. Like, I'm thinking about my positioning. I'm like, okay, am I where I need to be? I'm thinking about how I feel. I'm thinking about, I can pick up like cues on the guys next to me, like based on how hard they're breathing. Like I can usually tell, like, okay, he's hurting more than me, or like I might be hurting more than him. But I'm always thinking about, like, okay, how am I feeling? Like, how are my legs feeling? Like, am I going to have enough of my legs to kick at the end of this race? Like, am I in a good position? Like, I'm really just thinking about what's going on in the race around me. So I know there's a lot of people out there, like, I think about like songs or like they like distract themselves, but I like to be like present in the moment, because I feel like if you zone out too much, like you can let the race kind of get away from you. But I don't really think about much else other than what's going on in the race around me. I think about the guys around me. I think about how far into the race I'm at, like when I need to be making moves. I really try to be tactically sound in these races. So for me, that's always like thinking about what's going on in the race and what I need to be doing next.
Great answer. Because I had no idea.
Yeah.
You got to race some D1 talent again at the Paul Short Invitational and beat them nonetheless. What were you thinking going into that race that big?
Yeah, so I always love racing against like D1 guys and having competition like that. Cross country is an interesting sport, whereas you have a sport like football or basketball, D1 is not really competing against D2. But in a lot of these invites, I'm racing against D1 guys, D3 guys, D2 guys. We're all kind of mixed together. But I think at Paul Short in particular, most of the schools in our race were like lower end, mid-major D1 schools. So it's schools that I don't race at conference, I don't race at regionals. So I knew it was going to be new guys to race against. So I always look forward to that. But in cross country, there's no reason why I can't race and compete against and beat D1 guys. So I kind of liked it going into the race. Like, okay, I get to, these guys have all the funding in the world. They have all the resources in the world, coaching, like all that stuff to race against. We do not have a lot of those privileges that they have. So I was like thinking about that before, like, okay, these guys have every advantage over me, but like, I think I'm going to go out there and beat them. So that's like something that was motivating me beforehand.
What was your mindset walking into the PSAC championship?
Yeah, it was pretty simple. I wanted to win it. Yeah, I mean, I told myself that. I told myself that last year, and I was 7th. So obviously, you can tell yourself that, and it doesn't happen. But things kind of changed for me last track season. So I won PSACs in the 1500, and then I won in the 5K and at the outdoor championships. And I feel like once I experienced what it was like to win, then anything less than that, I know what it feels like to win. I feel like it was going to be very disappointing if I didn't win, and I could sit there and tell myself, okay, like 2nd or 3rd on paper is good, but I knew I was going to go home and I was going to be disappointed with anything less than winning it. So that was what I was thinking about before the race. During the race, that was the only thing I was thinking about. Like, once you win one, I feel like it'd be very hard to go back to and get like a 2nd or 3rd place finish and feel content with it. And I remember last year at the indoor championships, I was 2nd in the mile and I lost by like 1/10 of a second. And I had some of my teammates and my coaches were like, that was a great race, like you were 2nd in the PSAC, but I was like so disappointed. Like I was like so upset after that one. I was just sitting on the bench and I was thinking like, I can't believe that happened. Like I can't believe I lost by that little. And I was like, I don't want to feel that way again. And I knew too, like in some ways I feel like 2nd or 3rd is worse than finishing 7th, because when you're that close, like it's right there. I knew it was going to be a close race between me and Shippensburg's top guy. I figured one of us was going to win and one of us was going to be 2nd. So I was like, it's 90% chance that I'm either 1st or 2nd, and I really don't want to feel that 2nd place feeling again. So the goal is to win for sure.
Was it intimidating going up against him? Because he's won the past 2 years?
He won the past 2 years. I knew that he was someone that I could beat, but I also know how good he is. He's won, I think it's been 7 titles between cross country and track, something like that. I mean, he had the fastest 8K PR going in, but I did beat him last year in the 5K championship. So I really saw it in my head as like it was a 50-50 on paper race. I do think I had some tactical advantages in that race with it going out a little bit slower. But I knew he was beatable, but I also knew that I was going to take like my very best day. I needed to have an A+ race to beat him. If I'm racing like 100% to my best ability, I was like, I can beat him. But if I race 99.9% to my ability, I'm not going to beat him.
How does it feel to be the first IUP PSAC conference winner?
Yeah, that one was kind of crazy to me because we've had such like a good team in the past. Some of these school records have been around since like the 80s and 90s. Teams go to nationals, All-Americans, all this stuff. So it's like kind of crazy that none of those guys had won one. I was actually really surprised by that. So I think that just shows like how hard it is to win a conference championship, even if you do all those other things in the sport. A championship race is different. So that one meant a lot to me. I always pride myself on racing well in championships. So, I knew if that was something that I kind of pride myself in, that I needed to go out there and I needed to win, because otherwise I end up like, 2nd or 3rd place. I'm sure we've had so many people do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. The year prior, I think your teammate came in 2nd.
He was 2nd, yeah, and he was really close. Yeah. So it's just like, you set yourself apart with that, and I knew that going in, because there's a long list of all PSAC. I'm sure we've had like.
So you had a 4th place finish, all region honors, and broke the school record in the 10K. Your record-breaking season just keeps rolling. How do you feel about the regional meet?
I feel like the regional meet went pretty well. I mean, I did want to win it, and I think I told you that when I talked to you about it before, and I told everyone I talked to that I wanted to win it. But at the end of the day, I punched my ticket to nationals, and that was the thing that I really needed to take care of at this meet. And it was a close loss too. I mean, I was right there with about 400 or 600 meters to go. So overall, I'm happy with it, but I definitely would not say that I'm completely content with it. And it's definitely motivation for nationals. When I went and ran today, I was thinking about that last 600 meters where like the race like kind of got away from me. So I'm expecting to put up a stronger performance at nationals. But still, I mean, I can't be upset with yesterday at all. And I did make it to nationals. I gave myself 2 more weeks of running, and I get to run 1 more championship, so I think that'll be my best one yet.
Is this your first time going to nationals?
This is my first time going to nationals. I missed it in track in the 1500 by about a half of a second, so I definitely did not want to be outside of that top 5 because I remembered like missing it in track. But the nice thing about this is that you have this one race that decides if you go or not. Track, it's based off of time, so you have to run a certain time, and you have the whole season to hit that time, but if you don't hit it, that's it. This meet, you get to actually race to get into it, and I like that a lot more because it's all in your hands then at that moment.
How are you going to prepare for nationals this next couple of weeks?
Yeah, so I'm planning on doing a hard workout at some point later this week. I'm definitely going to cut back on my mileage going into nationals, taper to freshen up a little bit. I need to come up with some sort of race plan going into it because I know it's going to get out fast and it's going to be by far the best race I've ever been in. But really, at the end of the day, I'm not going to change much about how I've been racing. I'm not going to go out too fast. I'm not going to go out too aggressive. I'm going to trust what I've been doing all year. It's been working. I know it's going to be the hardest meet that I've raced in all year, but I don't see any reason to go out there and change what I've been doing. Obviously, I'm not going to go in and try to win, but in terms of starting off reasonable and then closing hard and getting people at the end of the race, I think should still be the plan for nationals mentally. And then physically, mostly, like, my preparation's been done, throughout the course of the last 5 months, obviously. I still am going to have, another hard workout, but the rest of that will be primarily easy mileage, and I'll cut back the length of some of my runs, but really, like the hay's kind of in the barn at this point, so I'm not going to try to do anything too crazy the next two weeks to change it. I trust my fitness. I don't want to, tire myself out at all with anything I do in the next 2 weeks, so I'll try to just freshen up and then run my best race there.
Yeah, well, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so now for some fun questions. Okay. What's your go-to race day meal?
Like the day of the race. Most of these have been morning races, so it's been like weird. I gotta eat it's like I'll eat like a bagel in the morning, and like I'll eat like some granola bars, like stuff like that the morning of a race. So I don't really have anything like the day of. The day previous, I usually like to get grilled chicken. I like the protein. I know carb-loading is like a big thing. People like to get pasta, but I feel like getting in like the protein that I can get from that, I feel a lot better. I don't feel like it's sluggish. I feel like if I go and eat like 5,000 calories of pasta the night before race, I feel it's kind of like sluggish and like, I don't know. I don't really love that. I know that that's like a big like runner thing. Like you go out and you eat like a ton of pasta and you carb load, but I've never really been a fan of that. I've never felt great the next day if I have like a whole stomach like full of pasta and sauce.
Do you have any pre-race rituals? Are you superstitious at all during racing?
I wouldn't say, honestly. I do the same warm-up routine every meet, but that's because I know like it works for me. I don't really have any I don't wear like the same socks every meet or anything like that. I don't have anything like too interesting in terms of rituals, but I do the same warm-up. I eat at the same, I'll have my last food about like 2 hours out prior to a race. I take caffeine before every race, drink electrolytes before every race. But these are because I know these things work. I know that they help me.
Yeah.
I'll do the same warm-up routine. I usually go to bed the same time before all my races. So things like that, but that's mostly just because I don't want any uncertainty. I don't want to change things up. But yeah, I don't really have any anything too crazy, in terms of that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather run in the heat or run in the rain?
I'd rather run in the rain, for sure. Running in the heat is like so miserable. I sweat so much too. Like I can't like cool down from it. And you get done with the race and you're really just like covered in sweat. It's so gross. It's just like a gross feeling. And your heart rate gets so high. Running in the rain is really like, it's not that bad. Sometimes it can like low-key feel good too. It can cool you off.
But the rain just makes like the course worse. Like,
for cross country it does like beat it up. But everyone else is running in the same conditions too. I guess it's the same thing for the heat, but like the heat's just miserable. I mean, running in the mud is like, it slows you down, but like it's not physically painful, whereas running in the heat can be like, it can be really bad. And then like you get like sunburn too if the sun's out. Running a race too in the heat dehydrates you so bad. Like we ran Lehigh this year. I remember it was a hot one, and the pictures of me, I look like I'm dead. My face is all red, and you can like see like there's sweat marks all over me. So I take the rain like any day.
All right, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure you listen to all of the podcasts and check in on all the articles.
Thank you guys for having me. Next competition will be Saturday the 22nd in Wisconsin. Not expecting anyone to come out for that, but feel free to follow along if you'd like to. And thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming.